Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into Linux for beginners, everything you need to know to get started. I'm your host, and in the next few minutes, we're going to break down what Linux is, how to install it, what the desktop experience is like, and even how to get your favorite apps running. So let's take a deep breath and jump right in. All right, so first off, what is Linux? You might have heard Linux tossed around as if it's just an alternative to Windows, but there's more to it. Linux is basically a kernel. That means it's the core of an operating system that manages everything in the background. And when we talk about Linux as an OS, we're really talking about a whole family of operating systems or distros like Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, and even Linux Mint. Each one is a bit different, but they all share that powerful Linux kernel. Now, let's talk hardware requirements and how to install Linux. You don't need a supercomputer for Linux. Most distros recommend a 64-bit CPU with 2 cores, about 4 gigabytes of RAM, and roughly 25 gigabytes of storage. Got an old PC lying around? Even that might do the trick. Installation is pretty similar to what you'd expect. You create installation media, either a DVD or USB stick. And yes, tools like Balena Etcher come in handy here. Just remember, Linux uses a different file system than Windows, and sometimes you might have to check out driver support for your specific hardware. Moving on to the desktop experience on Linux. If you're familiar with Windows or Mac OS, you might like the GNOME desktop UI that distros like Ubuntu and Fedora use. Think of it as having a taskbar, a start menu or apps menu, and even an app store. File management is pretty straightforward too. Files, folders, directories, it's all there. But heads up, no matter how user-friendly your distro is, you'll almost always end up using the terminal at least once. It might seem a bit daunting at first, but trust me, copy-pasting commands is totally fine to get you through those moments. And what about getting apps on Linux? Well, there are three main ways. You might install an app via an executable with an installation wizard, through an app store, or even the terminal. For those who want to avoid too much command line work, I'd recommend starting with a distro like Ubuntu or Mint, which offers a more guided experience. And here's something cool. If you need to run Windows software on Linux, you can use Wine. Plus, for gamers out there, Valve's Proton lets you run many Windows games smoothly on Linux. So to wrap it all up, Linux is getting more and more user-friendly with every release. Sure, the software ecosystem can be a bit different and sometimes challenging if you're coming from Windows or Mac OS, but once you get the hang of it, you might just wonder why you ever hesitated. Whether you're setting it up on your PC, diving into some terminal commands, or exploring a whole new world of apps, Linux is definitely for everyone, even if you're a beginner. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, drop a comment below with your questions, and don't forget to subscribe for more tech tips. See you next time, and happy Linuxing.